Hi everyone, today I'm talking about one of the biggest roadblocks I see for memoir writers. This does apply to INFJ and INFP writers, however, it also applies to all of the personality types. If you are a person writing a memoir, this is something that you will probably run into, especially if the memoir feels very painful or you're writing about past traumatic events that have to do with your family or your childhood. So a lot of the time when I see someone who is very invested in writing a memoir, and when I say invested, it means like it feels like a calling to them. It feels like something they have to do. It's not something they're doing on a whim. It might be fun, or parts of the process might be fun for them, but it's really this deep inner yearning they have to do this thing. They feel like they need to set out the events of their life and leave a record. And as part of that, they're processing what happened to them, why it happened. And usually they're looking back at it with hindsight, So a lot of times people who are writing memoir tend to be in their late 30s, their 40s, their 50s, because they have this lifetime of experience and now they're looking back at those earlier events and they're bringing these new perspectives to it. So one of the things that I see people run into so much of the time is this fear and anxiety about putting the memoir out into the world. And a lot of times this fear and anxiety comes in during the writing process when publishing is far down the road, and maybe they're not even consciously thinking about getting the book published just yet. They're just in the writing stage of it. But that fear and anxiety is there. It's either subconscious or it's only popping in at random moments where they think about, what if anybody reads this? And specifically, what if my family reads this? Now, the reason this is such a problem for memoir writers, most memoir writers tend to be the person in their family who was the sensitive one, the person in their family who was the introspective one, the child who maybe sat in the corner and didn't say much, or was even, suppressed or repressed from giving their opinion or sharing in the family communication, but who saw everything and who saw the dysfunction that their parents were going through, and they saw the toxic way that people were playing things out in their families. And that child then grew up to be a sensitive adult who never let go of these situations, and in fact has carried these situations with them so many years. And then as they grew up and they started to learn all of these, personal growth techniques, maybe they were in therapy themselves for a long time, the pieces start to fit together. And now they feel this yearning to tell the story. So part of playing this role of the sensitive child in the dysfunctional family, it comes with a lot of stuff. A lot of the time, it comes with being the scapegoat. The sensitive child might have been the one who took all the blame for the dysfunction on themselves, right? Or even when the family erupted into fights, they did something even worse. They acted out, or they kind of pulled some class clown behavior to take the focus off of the dysfunction happening in the family. A lot of times that child is the mediator or the one who keeps the harmony, right? So there might be people in the family who aren't speaking to each other or who are feuding or always fight. And that sensitive child came in and was always the harmonizer between parties, the go-between, right? A lot of times the sensitive child was the therapist for a narcissistic adult or an abusive adult in the home. I've heard many stories of people who said, I was the sensitive child. My dad really had an alcohol problem. He was quite abusive, but he came to me and used me as his therapist. And those were the times that I could actually connect with him and I could actually feel some sort of security and stability with him, is when he would share all his woes with me because I was the therapist. It doesn't always have to be with the dad. Sometimes it's with different family members, but the sensitive child will come in a lot of the time to play that role of the therapist. So because of the sensitive child is playing all these different roles, maybe they're playing one main role, maybe they're switching in between roles, they feel like they are sort of like the keeper of the family secrets. And to write a memoir, to put all of this down on paper, this happened and then I remember this, and this is, I saw my mom drunk, or I saw my dad hit my mom, or whatever traumatic truth that person witnessed as a child and is now coming out as an adult, is going to carry shockwaves if they publish the memoir. So that's why we see memoir writers who are in the writing process and a lot of delays come up, or self-sabotaging techniques. And we'll hear, well, I don't have the time to write, or, I wrote the whole memoir, but now I'm thinking it needs to go in a different direction. I need to rewrite the whole thing. I see that one a lot. Or I've written half of it, but I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I'm stuck. I can't seem to get myself to finish it. A lot of these problems that come in, and these sort of like stops and starts that the memoir writer is going through, it's because of that fear and anxiety, because in the back of their mind, they're like, I'm going to put this thing out in the world and it's going to rip the lid off of my family secrets, right? So what do you do to get past it? This is a really tough one, and there's not a quick and easy fix. The best thing you can do is to keep the writing separate from all of the other stuff. And when I say all of the other stuff, I mean editing, getting beta readers, doing any sort of critique, showing it to anyone else, or even talking about it with anyone else, thinking about publishing. All that stuff can come later down the road. When you're in the process of writing it and you're really going through, the family records, your memories, and you're rehashing all of this intimate, sometimes traumatic stuff, it's the most helpful to just think, no one's ever going to see this, right? And put it away, a locked place. It can be a physical locked place, like a locked drawer. I've actually had a client or two who have taken out a safety deposit box at the bank. They're like, my manuscript is there. No one's ever going to see it. It's under lock and key. It makes me feel a lot better. It can be a file on your desktop that is password protected. It can be whatever you want it to be. As long as you know it's safe, it's locked away, no one can get to it, and it is entirely your decision on whether or not anyone sees it. And the next step is you're going to suspend judgment on making that decision until the entire first draft is done. So you're not going to decide whether or not you're going to publish it, whether or not you're going to show your mother, whether or not you're going to put it on Amazon, whether or not your Aunt Margaret's going to have a fit over it. You're not thinking about or deciding on any of that stuff until you're done with the entire sloppy first draft. While you're in the writing process, you are focused entirely on where you are right now, the present moment. I wrote 2 pages today. I'm now going to put them away. I'm not going to reread them. Maybe I'll do a little bit of writing tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, no, I don't feel so good about it today. I think I need a break from the memoir. I'm going to take a couple days and come back to it. So you can see you're going to take very slow, baby steps, and you're going to check in with yourself all along the way. How do I feel? How am I doing? Do I need to take a break? Do I need to have some space? Do I need to let this breathe? When can I come back to it? You're not making any decisions about the future. This is easier said than done, but the more you practice slowing down and being present and checking in with yourself and staying squarely in the writing process and not trying to forecast into the future and all that publishing stuff and who's going to see it, the better it's going to be for you. I hope this was helpful for any of you. If any of you are writing memoir and you've gone through this, please leave a comment in the comments below. Tell us about your experience. It really helps other people to know they're not alone. I talk to so many memoir writers who are like, what's wrong with me? I'm not a writer. I'm not cut out for this. I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't write my memoir. If you have a story or an experience, about getting through this tough part of memoir writing, being the person who kept the secrets in your family and or the person who ripped the lid off the secrets in your family, please leave your experience in the comments below, because it can be really helpful for other people who are going through the same thing. Thanks so much, and I will see you all next time.